He told me to pack my bags, just to carry on. We were going away for the weekend. To reignite the spark, he said. I wanted to believe him, but the way he smiled felt rehearsed. And then as he kissed my forehead, I noticed something. His phone buzzed. The name flashing on the screen wasn't mine. Marcus had been distant for months. Late nights at the office, weekend golf games that never seemed to involve actual golf clubs. When he suggested this spontaneous trip to Miami, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe we could fix this. Maybe the man I married 3 years ago was still in there somewhere. But as I watched him pack, something felt off. He was too excited, too careful about what he put in his suitcase. And when that text came through, "Can't wait for tomorrow," my stomach twisted into knots. While he showered, I peeked inside his suitcase. 2 dress shirts, cologne he hadn't worn in years, and lingerie. Not my size, not my style. The tags were still attached, expensive silk and deep red. Size small. I was a medium. I zipped it up before he could catch me, but my heart was already unraveling. My hands shook as I stared at that suitcase. The lingerie was beautiful, the kind I'd always wanted but could never justify buying. But it wasn't for me. Someone else would be wearing it. Someone smaller. Someone he was planning to see on our romantic getaway. I sat on the edge of our bed, the same bed where we used to stay up talking for hours, and felt like a stranger in my own life. The shower was still running. I had maybe 5 more minutes before Marcus came out. 5 minutes to decide what to do with this devastating discovery. I didn't say a word. At the airport, I suggested we switch bags to make it easier. He stiffened. "Oh no, mine's heavier," he insisted. Too quick, too defensive. So I smiled sweetly and let him win. For now. The drive to the airport had been tense. Marcus kept checking his phone at red lights, typing quick responses with a smile I hadn't seen in months. When I asked who he was texting, he said it was his boss about a project deadline. But his boss's name was Robert, and the contact that kept lighting up his screen started with S. I memorized that detail, filing it away with all the other little lies that were building into something huge. At security, he clutched his carry-on like it contained state secrets, which, in a way, it did. Just before you continue to watch, please subscribe to this channel and like this video. It would encourage and help us keep creating amazing content for you. All right, back to the story. We landed in Miami. The resort was beautiful. Palm trees, turquoise water, champagne at check-in. But something felt wrong. He kept scanning the lobby, like he was waiting for someone. The Fontainebleau was exactly the kind of place I dreamed of visiting. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and staff who treated every guest like royalty. Marcus had spared no expense. Our ocean view suite probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. But instead of enjoying it, he seemed nervous. His eyes darted around the lobby, the pool area, even the elevator. When the bellhop made small talk about other guests, Marcus paid attention in a way that seemed too intense. I unpacked slowly, watching him check his phone every few minutes. "Great signal here," he said with forced casualness. "Perfect for staying connected." At the pool bar, I saw it. His smile. The one he used to give me, now aimed at someone else. A woman in a red bikini. She waved, and my stomach dropped when I recognized her. Sarah. His coworker. I'd met Sarah at the Christmas party 6 months ago. Blonde, petite, with a laugh that carried across rooms. She worked in Marcus's department, and he had mentioned her in passing, always positive, always accompanied by that same smile I was watching now. She looked different in the bikini than she had in her conservative office attire. Confident, radiant, like she belonged here, like she had been planning this for weeks. When their eyes met across the pool, the way they looked at each other told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a date. And I was the unwitting third wheel. "Who's that?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. He didn't flinch. "Oh, just someone from accounting. Crazy coincidence, right?" Coincidence. Except she was wearing the exact lingerie I saw in his bag under her cover-up. The red silk peeked through her white cover-up like a secret begging to be discovered. My throat dried. Sarah? Not someone from accounting, but someone from Marcus's own marketing team, waved again. She seemed to be waiting for some kind of signal from him. When Marcus ordered us drinks, he was jumpy, distracted. He kept glancing towards her cabana, where she'd settled with a book and what looked like a very expensive cocktail. "Small world," he said, but his voice cracked slightly. I sipped my mojito and tasted betrayal, sweet on the surface, bitter underneath. That night, while he showered again, I set up my phone to record, just to see. When he came out, towel around his waist, he grabbed his phone immediately, scrolled, smiled, and whispered, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." Not to me. I hid in the bathroom, heart pounding as I watched the recording later. There was my husband, the man who had promised to love and honor me, whispering sweet nothings to someone else. His whole body language changed when he looked at that phone. Softer, happier, the way he used to look when I surprised him with dinner or left little notes in his lunch. When was the last time he'd looked at me like that? I couldn't remember. The recording was shaky, my hands wouldn't stay still, but the audio was crystal clear. Evidence. Finally, proof that I wasn't going crazy. At breakfast, I casually mentioned we should do couples massages. He said he already booked one. But when the receptionist checked the reservation, 2 names. Neither of them mine. The spa receptionist was apologetic, but confused. "Mr. Thompson, your appointment is for 2 people at 3 p.m., but the second name is not... Let me check. It's Sarah Mitchell, not..." She looked at me uncertainly. Marcus's face went white, then red. "Oh, that's weird," he stammered. "Must be a mistake. Can we change it?" But I was already walking away, my mind racing. He'd planned this down to the last detail. The romantic getaway, the lingerie, the couple's massage, everything except how to explain it to his wife when she found out. The betrayal was so complete, so calculated, that I almost admired his thoroughness. I confronted him. "Who's the massage?" He laughed. "You're paranoid, always have been," then kissed my cheek like I was the crazy one. But his phone buzzed again. This time, I grabbed it before he could. The gaslighting was familiar. For months, Marcus had been making me feel like I was imagining things. The late nights, the secretive phone calls, the new clothes and cologne. "You're being paranoid, Amma," he'd say. "I love you. Why would I risk what we have?" But paranoia implies irrational fear, and there was nothing irrational about what I was seeing. When I snatched his phone, his face went from condescending to panicked in half a second. The screen showed a text thread with S. Heart that went back months. Months! This wasn't a fling. This was a full-blown relationship. The screen lit up with her name. Message preview. "Can't wait for tonight. She won't suspect a thing." My hand shook. He lunged for the phone, and I smiled because I'd already sent the screenshot to myself. Technology is amazing. In the 2 seconds it took Marcus to realize what I was doing, I'd already forwarded the most damning message to my own phone. The evidence was now in my hands, permanently. He grabbed the phone back, breathing hard, but the damage was done. "Emma, I can explain," he started, but I held up my hand. "Don't," I said quietly. "Just don't." Because what could he possibly say? That it wasn't what it looked like? That he loved me? That this was all a misunderstanding? The message was clear. They'd been planning this trip together, and they'd been planning to fool me. Well, mission accomplished. I played dumb, laughed at his jokes, held his hand at dinner, but inside, I was planning. Every lie he told was fuel. Every excuse was a weapon. Dinner that night was surreal. Marcus was trying so hard to be the perfect husband, pulling out my chair, complimenting my dress, asking about my day. But I could see the guilt in his eyes, the way he kept checking his phone when he thought I wasn't looking. I smiled and nodded and played the role of the devoted wife, all while my mind worked with a chess master planning moves. He'd underestimated me, thought I was weak and trusting. Maybe I had been, but betrayal has a way of clarifying things.
of showing you exactly who you are when everything else is stripped away. And I was discovering I was stronger than either of us had imagined. At the pool, I struck up a conversation with an older woman, told her, hypothetically, about my situation. She leaned in, eyes sharp. "Sweetheart, don't leave quietly. Make him remember you." And I knew exactly what to do. Margaret was in her 70s, with silver hair and eyes that had seen everything. She was at the resort celebrating her 50th wedding anniversary with her husband, who was napping under an umbrella nearby. "Hypothetically," I said, "what would you do if you found out your husband was cheating?" She didn't hesitate. "Honey, I've been married 5 decades. I've seen every trick in the book. The question isn't whether you leave, it's how. You can slink away and let him win, or you can remind him exactly what he's losing." She squeezed my hand. "Make it count." Her wedding ring caught the sunlight, and I thought about my own ring and what it was supposed to mean. That night, I staged it, raised my voice, accused him of not caring, made it dramatic enough that people at the bar stared. Then I stormed off, right into the arms of the resort concierge. "Can you help me with a surprise for my boyfriend?" I asked. The performance was Oscar-worthy. "You never listen to me anymore. It's like I don't even exist." Marcus looked mortified as other guests turned to stare. "Good. Let him be embarrassed. Let him feel a fraction of the humiliation I'd been carrying." I threw my napkin down and stalked off, making sure my exit was memorable. The concierge, Carlos, was immediately sympathetic. "Trouble in paradise?" he asked kindly. I let my eyes fill with tears. "Not hard given everything." "I want to surprise him," I said. "Something special. Can you help me plan it?" He was eager to assist. I booked the fanciest cabana dinner for 2, the kind with candles, champagne, and a private beach view. Under his name. Then I left the confirmation email open on his laptop, like bait. Carlos outdid himself. The Sunset Cabana package was $1,200 and included everything: private chef, premium champagne, rose petals, the works. "Your boyfriend is very lucky," he said as we finalized the details. "Most women wouldn't go to this trouble after an argument." If only he knew. I made sure to book it under Marcus's name and credit card, then strategically left my laptop open to the confirmation email when I went to shower. When I came out, Marcus was at the desk staring at the screen with confusion. Did you book something for tomorrow night?" he asked. I smiled mysteriously. "I thought we could make up properly." The next morning, I canceled our room key access and had the staff prepare a special surprise delivery. A note slipped under her door: "In case she's suspicious, meet me at the cabana tonight. Marcus." The front desk was incredibly helpful. "Mrs. Thompson, we completely understand wanting to surprise your husband," the manager said, when I explained that Marcus was planning something special for me, and I wanted to make sure everything went perfectly. They were happy to help coordinate the surprise. The note I had delivered to Sarah's room, I'd gotten her room number by claiming I wanted to invite Marcus's colleague to join us for drinks, was carefully crafted. Just ambiguous enough to seem like it came from Marcus, just specific enough to ensure she'd show up. The staff thought they were helping orchestrate a romantic evening. They had no idea they were helping plan my husband's downfall. That evening, I told him I had a migraine. "You go have fun," I said. He didn't argue, just grabbed his cologne, iron shirt, and the lingerie bag. Perfect. Marcus tried to look concerned, but I could see the relief in his eyes when I begged off dinner. "Are you sure you'll be okay alone?" he asked, but he was already reaching for his suitcase. The same cologne from his bag, the dress shirt he'd packed so carefully, and yes, the small bag with the red lingerie. He thought he was being subtle, but guilt makes people clumsy. "Take your time," I told him, pressing my hand to my forehead. "I just need to rest." He kissed my forehead, a gesture that once would have melted my heart and now felt like mockery. "I'll just grab a quick bite at the restaurant. Back soon." We both knew he was lying. From the shadows, I watched. She showed up first. He followed, grinning like a teenager. He pulled out the chair for her, poured champagne, and just as they clinked glasses, the resort photographer appeared. The cabana was everything I paid for. Candles flickered in hurricane glass, the table was set with white linens and silver, and the ocean provided the perfect backdrop. Sarah arrived exactly on time, wearing a flowing white dress that showed off her tan. She looked happy, excited, like she was living out a fantasy. Marcus appeared 5 minutes later, and the way his face lit up when he saw her made my chest tight. He'd never looked at me like that, not even when we were dating. They embraced, settled into their romantic dinner, and raised their glasses in what looked like a toast to their deception. That's when Carlos appeared with the photographer, just as I'd arranged. Complimentary photos for couples, the photographer beamed. They froze, but the camera kept flashing dozens of shots. Him, her, hands intertwined, all watermarked with the resort logo.
The photographer was enthusiastic and professional, taking shot after shot before Marcus and Sarah could object. "Beautiful couple," he said, snapping away. "These will be perfect for your memory book." I watched Marcus's face go from confusion to panic as he realized what was happening. Sarah tried to cover her face, but it was too late. The camera had captured everything: their intimate dinner, their clasped hands, their guilty expressions. "We didn't ask for photos," Marcus protested, but the photographer just smiled. "Complimentary service, sir. Your wife arranged everything." The confusion on Sarah's face was almost comical. My wife? But I was supposed to be upstairs with a migraine. At breakfast the next day, the resort had a slideshow running in the lobby. Vacation photos of happy guests. And right between a honeymoon couple and a family of 4, there they were. My husband, his coworker, smiling on the beach. The slideshow was Carlos's idea. "We love showcasing our happy couples," he had explained when I suggested it. The photos cycled through on the large screen in the main lobby. Families building sandcastles, couples toasting at dinner, groups of friends laughing by the pool. And then, crystal clear and impossible to deny, Marcus and Sarah at their romantic cabana dinner. The timestamp showed the previous evening. The body language showed everything else. Other guests in the lobby began to murmur, pointing at the screen. "Isn't that the guy from the pool bar?" someone whispered. "But where's his wife?" Gasps echoed through the lobby. Someone even clapped. He turned beet red, stammering, "It's not what it looks like." But she grabbed her bag and stormed out. And I just sipped my mimosa. The scene was everything I'd hoped for and more. Marcus stood frozen in the middle of the lobby, luggage in hand, as his photo with Sarah played on loop above his head. Other guests were openly staring now, some taking pictures with their phones. Social media was going to have a heyday. Sarah pushed through the crowd, her face hidden behind sunglasses and shame. She didn't even look at Marcus as she fled. "Emma, please," he started, but his voice cracked. The confident, lying husband from yesterday was gone, replaced by a panicked man whose carefully constructed deception had crumbled in front of an audience. I raised my mimosa in a mock toast. "To reigniting the spark," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. I stood up, loud enough for the whole lobby to hear. "Thank you for proving me right, babe. Enjoy your little spark." Then I handed him divorce papers I'd been carrying for weeks. His jaw hit the floor. The divorce papers were the result of weeks of preparation. I'd suspected something was wrong for months, and the Miami trip had confirmed it. My lawyer had drawn up the papers based on the evidence I'd been gathering, the mysterious texts, the late nights, the sudden changes in behavior. I'd brought them on the trip as insurance, not really believing I'd need them. But there's nothing like photographic evidence of adultery to make things crystal clear. I had been not served, I said, pressing the papers into his trembling hands. The lobby had gone completely quiet, except for the sound of the slideshow advancing to the next happy couple. The contrast was perfect. I tossed the room key on the table. "Don't worry, I already booked myself a suite. Single occupancy." The lobby erupted in whispers. He couldn't even look at me.
The key hit the marble table with a sharp metallic sound that seemed to echo through the entire lobby. Marcus stared at it like it was a snake, then looked up at me with something that might have been regret. Too little, too late. "How long have you known?" he whispered, but I was already walking away. The whispers followed me across the lobby, a mix of shock, admiration, and gossip that would keep the resort staff entertained for weeks. I could feel eyes on my back, but for the first time in months, I didn't feel small or invisible. I felt powerful. Marcus called my name once, but I didn't turn around. Some bridges you burn completely. Turns out the resort loved my drama. They upgraded me to the honeymoon suite, with champagne. And Margaret from the pool? She sent me a note, told you to make him remember. The penthouse suite was incredible. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a private balcony, and a view that stretched to the horizon. "No charge, Mrs. Thompson," the manager said with a wink. "We appreciate guests who know how to handle difficult situations with style." The champagne was Dom Perignon, the flowers were fresh orchids, and the note from Margaret was accompanied by a bottle of her own celebration wine. "You did good, honey. That performance deserves an award. Enjoy your freedom." I stood on the balcony watching the sunset paint the ocean gold and orange and felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. That night, he texted me, begging, promising, swearing it was a mistake. So I sent him one picture back. Me, alone, smiling in the honeymoon suite. The messages started around midnight. "Emma, please, we need to talk. It meant nothing. I love you, not her. I can explain everything." Each message was more desperate than the last, but they all said the same thing. He was sorry he got caught, not sorry he did it. The photo I sent back was simple. Me in a fluffy hotel robe, champagne glass raised, city lights sparkling behind me. The message was clear. I was fine without him. Better fine than actually. For the first time in our marriage, I was exactly where I wanted to be, doing exactly what I wanted to do, and he wasn't part of it. When I got home, the screenshots, the photos, the divorce papers, all went straight to my lawyer. Sarah lost her job when HR found out. Marcus lost everything else. And me? I gained something better, my freedom, and the sweetest revenge, watching him realize exactly what he threw away for a weekend fling that cost him everything he actually valued. The aftermath was swift and decisive. The photos from the resort made excellent evidence in divorce proceedings. Adultery is still grounds for fault-based divorce in our state, and Marcus's lawyer couldn't argue with photographic proof. Sarah's company had a strict no-fraternization policy, and when the photos surfaced, she was terminated immediately. Marcus fought the divorce initially, claiming he wanted to work things out, but you can't unbreak trust, and you can't unhumiliate someone in front of a lobby of strangers. The settlement was generous. I got the house, half his retirement, and my freedom. 6 months later, I heard through mutual friends that he and Sarah had broken up. Apparently, relationships built on deception don't have strong foundations. Who could have predicted that? I kept Margaret's wine for special occasions, and opening it the day my divorce was finalized definitely qualified. Here's to new beginnings and the beautiful sound of bridges burning behind you.
If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, comment, and smash the subscribe button. Also, check out other videos on the channel. We've got more interesting stories for you.